Hello and welcome to Football Friday, where I talk about what has happened over the course of this week about the beautiful game. This week was a very entertaining week for all, as most clubs would face a double game week. But on Monday, there really wasn't that much to talk about. A Napoli game was going on and it ended 1-1, which is very bad for Napoli fans because they wanted to push towards that title charge, and a 1-1 draw really didn't help them. But thankfully, on Tuesday, there are more games to talk about. The first game I'm going to be going over is Chelsea 2, Lille 0. Chelsea fans were relieved that they were drawn against Lille, mainly because they had a 100% win record and would continue this as they beat them 2-0. In their previous matches, they'd beat Lille twice in the same season 2-1. And to be honest, there were some cases you would think that Lille could pull away this. Of course, they just had that very unnervy game against Crystal Palace, where the only stat I really need to show you for Chelsea's attacking form was Lukaku had less touches than the ball boy. That, for a £100 million signing, is pretty abysmal. But thankfully for Chelsea fans and anyone watching this game, Lukaku was on the bench, which meant Tuchel decided to go with a strike partnership of Christian Pulisic, Hamak Ziyech, and Kai Havertz. And Kai Havertz did not disappoint. In the first 10 minutes, he would get his goal, and he would really prove why they didn't need a striker. They could just put Kai Havertz up front, and he'd probably do better than Romelu Lukaku. Now let's move over to the other game and the other Champions League game of the night, which is Villarreal 1, Juventus 1. Now, I didn't actually get to watch this game because I was watching the Chelsea game, but I can only give you what I can see from stats and from highlights. And from the stats, Villarreal looked like they were dominating in most aspects. Thankfully, Dusan Vlahovic would get a early lead for then Daniel Parejo to get a equaliser. But this game probably was pretty boring to watch. I didn't personally watch it, but when I did flick over to watch 2 minutes of it, it was a very slow paced game. And to be honest, I think that's what both managers were going for, a slow paced game and Juventus trying to hold their 1-0 win. Wednesday now, and Wednesday was the start of the Premier League for the week, and it did not disappoint. Burnley getting a surprise win over Tottenham, Watford getting smashed by Crystal Palace 4-1, and I'll talk about this in more depth now. Liverpool 6, Leeds 0. Now, I'm going to be brutally honest, and I have to say this. I think Bielsa will be sacked soon. 6-0. That's something you see when Crystal Palace play Liverpool. It wasn't a good game for Leeds supporters, and I think Bielsa will be sacked soon because he can't turn up every single game with the same style of football. Yes, that same style of football is probably will work at other clubs. Leeds just don't have the right players. Phillips is gone with an injury, which is a big hindrance considering he's such an important player. And to be honest, Bielsa really needs to work around that. Bielsa knows he's got important injuries. Patrick Bamford. So why in the summer did Leeds buy no one? It's an important thing. When you have important injuries to your star players, you need to go out and buy replacements. Even if you're not going to go buy replacements to those star players, you need to go buy some. You need to go buy some more quality. There were tons of players Leeds could have picked up. Think of it like this: Christian Eriksen was picked up by Brentford. He is a very good player, and yes, there is the risk that he does have another heart attack. And I'm hopefully he doesn't have one at Brentford because I really do want him to perform well against with Brentford. But Leeds could have gone out and picked him, a good midfield presence who could just calm the game down. There's a lot of players Leeds could have gone out and got, but they didn't. They had no action in the window, and it was surprising. Now, before I move on to talk about Thursday, I just want to say what a big win for Crystal Palace. And I will be talking about this because I am a Crystal Palace supporter, so it's sort of natural for me to talk about. But it's just how Patrick Vieira has set out in this game. When we went 1-0 up, we sort of sat back, which I don't like. It's the Roy Hodgson way. when we go up 1-0, we sit back, we let them come, and we try counter-attack. That's not what I liked, and we paid for it. We have been terrible from set pieces, especially corners, and to be honest, Sissoko shouldn't have scored. Someone should have been marking him. No one was marking him. He just ran through our defence, took an easy header, and Jack Butland couldn't do anything. But I think it was the reaction to that goal which I thought was very good. We went out there and Gallagher got a very good goal. But after that, I really don't know what Patrick was doing. Half time, Patrick went into the tunnel. Then after he went out of the tunnel, we were different. We were a different team. For the next 30 minutes, we just weren't Crystal Palace. We were playing really bad football, didn't have that many shots on target, and it was only when, and I'll tell you, it was only when the Watford fans left the stadium or started to leave the stadium because Watford weren't performing well and they weren't really like when Ben Foster. There was a prime example of this. Ben Foster went out to try kick the ball up to sort of start an attack. There was just no midfield. The midfielders weren't there. The midfielders were walking back to their positions where they really should have been bolting it down. They just weren't. It was after those Watford supporters left where Zaha sort of just said, well, yeah, if we're just going to play this football, I'm just going to run up the pitch and score. And he did. He did two beautiful goals. And it is such a big win. And I know we've just lost to Burnley. Well, no, we didn't lose to Burnley. I think of it as a loss because we really should have won it because Milivojevic scored an own goal, and I don't get why he was starting in that game. We've got so many other midfielders, and Checo Kute even came on and performed very well, but I don't know why he was playing. But back onto this game, it was very important for us to win this game as we hadn't had a win in ages. It really boosted our confidence, and I think if Patrick Vieira plays that style of football, that first 10 minutes worth of football for the entire game, it'd be beautiful. Moving on to Thursday, and now Thursday was the night of the Europa League. There were so many Europa League matches going on, but there was one Premier League match, so I'll start off with that, and that is Arsenal 2, Wolves 1. And really, the only thing I have to say this game is a lot of Arsenal fans were saying that they were time wasting from the 40th minute when they didn't have their goal, when they were sort of carving down the match. And I've just got to say, never time waste. I don't care if it is the 90th minute, do not time waste. Palace have done this so many times, and I've talked about it on a previous episode. You can't time waste. Time wasting, you'll just get hit. You'll just get hit really badly. Crystal Palace have time wasted in some games, and we have paid for it. We have paid for it for losing matches, drawing matches in the 90th minute. You can't do that. Wolves, you can't do that. You got a lucky goal because, well, it wasn't really lucky. Poor defending from Gabriel, really poor defending, and then Arsenal came back. That is when Arsenal scored that goal. That was Wolves' time to go and score another one, seal the game off. They didn't. They allowed Arsenal to come at them, and in the 90th minute, 90th plus 5th minute, Jose Sa would score an own goal. Lacazette should have really got the credit for it because he did excellently to get the goal, but Jose Sa did put the ball in his own net, so it is a Jose Sa goal. Now for the Europa League games of Napoli 2, Barcelona 4. That was a very important game for Barcelona because they desperately need to win the Europa League. It is a easy qualification into the Champions League. They'll definitely get top 4, but it's a trophy. It boosts the morale and it shows that Barca are back. They played very well that game and all that lot. Next one, Rangers 2, Dortmund 2. It just shows that the two big sides in Scottish football can actually play against the big teams. Maybe if Dundee United versus Dortmund, maybe if it was that game, that Dortmund would have thrashed them. But it's Rangers. You can't underestimate Rangers because they've got quality. James Tavernier is a brilliant right back. He's playing in Scotland, but he is an amazing right back, and he scored 2 against Dortmund to just seal them off. Really, if James Tavernier didn't score, it would have gone to extra time. So just think of it like that. Other games being Dinamo Zagreb versus Sevilla, 1-0 win for Sevilla, meaning that 1-0 win for Dinamo Zagreb, but it doesn't really matter because Sevilla go through anyway because on aggregate it was 3-2 to them. Lazio versus FC Porto in a 2-2 draw means that Porto will go through on aggregate with a 4-3 win. Atalanta beat Olympiacos 3-0, which means Atalanta will go through. And the other really big one would be Real Sociedad getting knocked out by RB Leipzig. I thought Real Sociedad could really win this game. They've got so much quality. David Silva is one of them. Like he was amazing. He was amazing at Man City, but he didn't play. I don't know why he didn't play, and I guess you could sort of say they paid for it because they lost 3-1, and RB Leipzig are doing incredibly well after getting knocked out of the Champions League. So fair play. They brought their A game to this game, and yeah, they are now moving on. And actually, RB Leipzig will be versing Spartak Moscow in the next Europa League match. So I will be rooting for I'll be rooting for Spartak Moscow because I just want to see them perform well. To be honest. Moving on to, of course, Friday in a week where I only watched Southampton Norwich game because three players were in my fantasy league. James Ward-Prowse, Livramento, and Carl Walker-Peters were all in my fantasy league or fantasy team, and yeah, I only watched that game because they were in my team. I got 9 points from Livramento and Walker-Peters, so thank you for you two. I may actually perform well this year. I'm really not. I'm really not performing well. But in this game, it just shows why Norwich will probably get relegated. They had one shot on target the entire game, and to be honest, if you're a relegation side, you wanna make chances. You wanna make more chances. A prime example of a relegation team that have been motivated to go and score chances would be Everton. And even though Everton have performed really bad and they currently are losing 1-0 to Man City, I was watching him. Richardson, he was running. He was desperately trying to get them a goal, and or even Awobi from when I started watching it. Awobi was also trying their very hardest to get a goal. And it's just a shame that Everton were playing the champions of the Premier League, and there was just no chance that they were going to win, to be honest. But for Friday, it was just a pretty boring game. Games in Italy included Milan versus Udinese and Genoa versus Inter, which both ended in draws, which means the title challenge, or even just the top four in general, are very, very close to each other. From first place Milan on 57 points to third place Napoli with 54 points, it's very, very close. And to be honest, one team just has to have a really bad play. Milan as an example, if they lose the next two games and Napoli win their next two games, they're top of the table. That's how close it is in Italy, and it's very entertaining, to be honest. That is all for today. And just say, if you're a Southampton fan, you must be loving life right now. Southampton are on a ridiculous run, and honestly, they can do whatever. They beat Spurs. They're beating clubs left, right, and centre. So props if you're a Southampton fan, or even any of the Southampton players, because you're doing really well right now. But that is all for today. If you do enjoy the content, please go down and hit the like and subscribe button. It really does mean a lot to me. And well, see you next time.